Hi. I'm back and I want to talk a little bit more about feminine presence, our femininity, and our feminine essence. Now, I've done a previous video, and if you haven't caught up with that already, I really encourage you to just kind of snap back and just catch up. It's fine to watch this one and then go back. But what I'm saying is, don't miss out, because this is good stuff that we're wanting to share together. So, our feminine essence. We talked before a lot about our feminine flow and the feminine being weaving and an intertwining and softness and blending and all of those things, didn't we? And we talked about it also coming from the inside, the inner she, and being expressed on the outside by what we choose to do. Through our creativity, how we choose to present and show up in the world, and through our intuition and through our healing gifts. So this is really where I'm coming from, and I want to, in this video, expand a little bit more about the ebbing and flowing and the weaving and the connecting and all of those things, because I just think we just need to kind of expand that. So we know, don't we, that we're different from the males in that we have cycles, and we and the moon also has cycles. It's on a 28 rotation, so it's easy to see where our ancestors, sisters, thought that the woman's cycle was linked into the moon cycle, and because all the women in the tribe would menstruate together, obviously they're all going through the same phase at the same time, which means they would all have PMT at the same time as well. We talked about that before. So clearly we've got this ebbing and this flowing, this shifting and this changing, this seasonal thing going on in our cycles, week to week to week to week, and it changes and it shifts. And I want to say that that's great and it's good and it's right that we do that. Okay, we all know, don't we, that we can be presented with a situation or a person or something said to us one week, and we can take it on the chin, and we can let that be, and it doesn't affect us. And another week, if somebody says that, it lands in our lives so heavy. We have this reaction. We come at it from a place of panic or anger or something else. So we even know in ourselves that we go through these shifts and these changes, these ebbings and these flowings. And this is the mystery and the power behind the feminine essence. This is what we can bring to the table of the world. It's a way in which we can hook in to emotions. See, we've been kind of conditioned to express emotions in their virulent self is somehow wrong or bad. So it's somehow wrong for girls to be overly emotional and cry, or become super angry, or any extreme of emotion. If we're giddy with excitement and we can you see we go to the depths of these emotions, and when we're girls together, we magnify that sometimes. And I want to say that is all good. And the reason that we're being told that from society and culture is because men don't understand it and they can't handle it. It throws them off kilter. Okay, but that does not mean it's wrong. It's not wrong. It's right that we express ourselves emotionally, and it's right that we hook into our femininity to do that. So this is really what I wanted to say. And I also want to say that because we've been conditioned into feeling these things, like we said before, we squashed that part of our femininity down. So there's no safe place. There's no safe place to release that. And I don't know about you, but I go through phases in my cycle when I just want to have a good blab and a good cry, and I want to be on my own, and I want to do that. And I only want to be on my own to do that because there's men in my world. And if I did that in front of them, they wouldn't understand, and it would actually make it worse for me. And so that is why we need a sisterhood. We need to be able to go to our sisters in those moments and be held, and be held and be heard. Our sisterhood is so that we can stand with each other and hold each other in those moments, and in those moments of joy and celebration and the sheer excitement of different things. Maybe buying a pair of shoes can produce that response in us. Brilliant. Bring it on. Bring it on. I think that's just wonderful. Now, in my life, I've been kind of accused of this. It's been noticed that I operate like this, and some man said to me once that I didn't present the same each time. I shifted and I changed, and I wasn't consistent. And this was before I really understood about the feminine as I do now, and it made me feel really, really wobbly, that comment. And I pulled back, and I felt wrong again. Another incident when I felt wrong. And then when I started to read into the feminine attributes and to really gen up on what it was in my feminine essence, I realised that we're supposed to go through these changes. See, we live in the moment. Things happen in our moment in our world, and the next moment something can shift, and that is okay. That is okay. As long as, like we said, our inner she, where our boundaries and our value system and our sacred is strong, and that part of us is unshakable. We know what we think, we know what we stand for. That part of us is unshakable. Actually, everything else that we can express out here, let's express it. Let's do that. It's perfectly okay to do that, and we need to do that in a safe way. So I'm saying that being in a sisterhood is one way which we can certainly be. It's permissible. It is permissible to be like that in a sisterhood, and that is what we're missing, and that is what we truly need, don't we, sisters? Don't we? Okay, so our weaving and our flowing together, it also operates on another kind of level. Remember, we talked about the masculine being very competitive, and that the male attribute always seeks to win and be the dominant one. Every single one of them is striving to this thing where they have to be the winner. Well, we women, we don't operate like that, but we've conditioned ourselves to believe that we should in order to be in a man's world. And what we've done is, remember we talked about squashing the feminine right down and supporting the patriarchy in that way. And I just feel that we need to really address that in ourselves. Okay, because what we end up doing, like I said before, is we are behaving, if that attitude, that mindset was so ingrained in us that we have to fit into this man's construct of what society should be, we end up being competitive with each other. We end up putting each other down, and that is why we see women in bunches becoming gossipy and competitive and doing each other down and making nasty remarks about each other behind each other's backs and all of those things. All of that comes out of this place of wanting to be somehow in a man's world, and we've got it all mixed up in our heads over thousands and thousands of years of learning, being conditioned into the wrong way of thinking about the feminine. So we need to change that, and we need to change that in our own hearts first, because that's the only place it can ever be. We cannot ever change anyone else's thinking on it. So what we need to do is we need to raise each other up, and we need to see the good in each other, and we need to draw it out. And it starts in such a simple way. And my challenge is that we would use our creativity to do this. And I'm going to share to you something that happened to me last year, which was really knocked my socks off, to be honest. I was at a festival, and we were sitting on the grass, and we were we were watching a band, a couple of friends and and I turned around and there was two beautiful sisters who I did not know sitting behind me, and they were lovely. They were smiley and they were happy and they were gorgeous, and they were looking at me like, in a welcoming way. And then I looked down at the side of my dress, and they had pegged a clothes peg on me, and they had written on this peg and covered it with gluey sparkles, and they had written on there, "You are beautiful." And my friend had a peg as well, and hers said, "You are worth it." And I thought, yeah, that's really great. That's a really creative way of how, one of the reasons we can build each other up. And they didn't have to say a word to me, they just pinned it on my clothing, you see. And I was going to find that later on, and that's a beautiful, beautiful example of how, one of the ways we can do this. I'm not saying we have to do that, there are many ways, but be creative about it, how we can do this, how we can start to have this conversation. My personal way is to be somewhere with a woman. It could be anywhere, it could be public toilets, even in a shopping mall, or in the pub with somebody passing by, or anywhere really. And often I'll look at their shoes, and if I genuinely, you have to be genuine about it, if I genuinely like them, I'll say, "Oh, lovely shoes." And it's amazing when you have the shoe conversation, it opens the door. It opens the door to have this kind of connection start, and this kind of drawing in, and you'll be amazed at what that sister is then going to come back with. And it's just incredible. I challenge you to try that. That's really, really very, very good. And there are countless other ways which I'm sure that we need to talk about and share, because this is a brilliant idea. So the whole thing about this is to draw each other out and to raise each other up. You see, can you see how these scenarios that I'm presenting to you is about weaving? Can you see, in a spiritual way? So a sister who is not known makes a gentle move forward, okay, and then our hearts can respond back. So we're doing this pushing and not pushing, to and fro motion, like we're rocking between us. And no words are really spoken because we don't really know each other, but it's a way in, okay? It's a way in. And this is what I'm talking about. We flow, we're curvy. When we create things and the things are not in straight lines, we flow like a river. And I've never ever seen in my life a straight river, ever. It's round the bend, isn't it? We know this. Beautiful. Beautiful. So the idea is that we weave and we flow and we connect around each other. We hold each other, we raise each other up, we're there for each other. We can, really hear one another. Which brings me on to the next thing I want to talk about, really, and that is about the feminine always wants and desires. Our deepest longing as a feminine being is to be really heard, really seen, and really acknowledged or validated. These things are super important. And we talked before about the drama queen, didn't we? We talked before about the drama queen, one of the dark queens, and all of the dark queens really. They know this desire. This desire is here, and what they do is they push for it through seeking attention, and they put it in your face. Okay, so what we need to do, because we are the mature ones, and we now are the ones leading the way here. What we need to do is understand that is going on in the heart of every single woman on the planet. This desire to be really heard, really seen, really acknowledged, and really validated. So what we need to do in every interaction is meet that need for our sisters. And if we all meet that need, if we really, really listen, and we really, really affirm each other, and we really, really see each other, that is the platform on which our sisterhood can build on, and more of us will gather in to that place. So this is a super important kind of building tool here. It's the recognition that it's going on, and then the recognition that we have the tools and the power to meet it. Okay, so this is all about, when we put all of these things together, this is about standing in that place of feminine power. You see, our feminine core is very, very, very strong, isn't it? Very strong. We feel this feminine desire in us so strong. This push inside of us that's kind of pushing from down here to get out, to receive the feminine and to express the feminine. Do you see what I mean? And so we've got to do both. We've got to be it and we've got to do it for our sisters. Okay? I want to say that what we've done as well, because we don't meet together in the way in which the ancient women used to, in tribe, in red tent format, as it were, what we tend to do is we tend to do this with our intimate relationships with a man. And I want to tell you that it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. He doesn't get it. He can't get it. And it's wrong to expect him to. And we're going to have problems if we are under the expectation of that man meeting our need for this, because he simply can't. He's in competition mode, and he will argue the toss and want to be the winner or the resolver of the issue. And he will want to have his say and have us follow his lead, and all of those things. But actually what we're saying is, I just want you to listen to me and validate me and really see. But that man will never ever understand that. So this is why we need to come together as a sisterhood. This is our place, and this is our standing, and this is our calling. So my challenge is that we would hear this, and we would take this, and we would run with this and build a fire. Can we do it, girls? It's exciting, so exciting. Okay, and I'm going to sign off now, and I love you, and I'll be back with more amazing goodness that seems to be my heart, and I'll share with you soon. Love your hearts.